The Center for Audit Quality presents Profession in Focus.
Hello, and welcome to this edition of Profession in Focus. I'm very pleased today to have as our guest Caroline Tsay. Caroline is the Chief Digital Officer and General Manager for the software group at Hewlett Packard. She also serves on the board of directors of Travelzoo and Rosetta Stone. So we have a lot to cover. You've got a great diverse background, and we'll also talk about diversity. So I'm really looking forward to a conversation.
Thanks for having me, Cindy.
So let's dive right in and talk about strategy. I was really interested to learn that you chair the Business Advisory Committee at Rosetta Stone, which is a strategy-focused committee. And then, of course, you're the digital officer at Hewlett Packard. So I'm curious what it is, as you think about strategy, that boards and investors and company need to know about the digital economy.
I think the digital economy is it's a pretty broad term and space to think about. Digital could mean anything from your customers and consumers and the way they buy products has changed to how your technology and infrastructure needs to support and enable the products and services that you're building. So digital could mean so many things. And I think ultimately the board needs to be really clear about the direction they're trying to head in and all the pieces along the way that make it so that they can get there. And that may include digital board members or those with that kind of talent and experience in board composition, all the way through to do you have the right people, talent, and culture inside of your organization to go and achieve any kind of long-term goals for you, to incrementally developing along the way, not necessarily doing something that has to be game-changing right away, but something that could take steps to be able to get there.
So you just mentioned long-term strategy and long-term goals. How do you balance having that long view with the short-term priorities that you have to have in this fast-moving digital economy?
I think there's got to be an openness and or willingness to be able to iterate, develop, test, and learn from whatever it is you're doing inside of your organization, from product development to marketing and even sales. That means that you just open up the way to be able to achieve shorter term gains and wins rather than having to shoot for the long term and put in massive initiatives that might mean that it could fail because not everyone is aligned toward that longer term goal. So I think innovation could mean a couple of things, from improvement and wins along the way through to major initiatives that you want to go and achieve longer term.
So we've talked about your diversity of experience, but I also want to talk to you about the other type of diversity. We've heard a lot from the SEC and from investors and corporate governance experts about the importance of having gender diversity, ethnicity diversity, age diversity, and I know you've been recognized in a few areas, both the Silicon Valley Business Journal's 40 Under 40, as well as the National Diversity Council's Top 50 Most Powerful Women in Technology. So diversity is obviously something that you bring to a board. You bring not only your experience, but these other types of personal diversity. And I know it's something where the United States kind of lags behind other countries getting diversity on boards. What do you think the impediments are for us, and how do we overcome them?
Yeah. I found what to be really helpful with my first board, and that was Rosetta Stone when I joined about 2 years ago, was that a number of other board members were joining at the same time. After there was a recognition by the rest of the board that they needed folks with a diverse background or a diverse set of skills and experiences. I think that helped me in being able to have a contingent to work with before going onto a board of long-standing members. And we've been able to trade notes and align on the topics and discussions going into board meetings and outside. I think that's been extraordinarily helpful. Also, I've found that there are a number of organizations out there. I know that these are women-focused, but everything from Women in the Boardroom to the Board List and the Athena Alliance out in the Bay Area that have been tremendous in terms of finding fantastic and qualified women or others of great experience to board. So I found things to have worked in several of those ways.
So you mentioned that you're relatively new to the boardroom, 2 years on Rosetta Stone. What advice would you give to a new board member?
The first thing I would say is get up to speed on corporate governance and all of the things that you have to do as a board member. There are so many forums for that, whether it's through NACD or whether it's through the Stanford's Directors Consortium, which is something I did over a week period. And just learning about all of the committees, what they're responsible for, what each board member is responsible for was really important. One other thing that I did was to talk to a number of other public company board directors to get their points of view and to be able to get experiences from them of what I could do going into my first meeting or first few meetings, and that was incredibly helpful as well.
So I do have one final question for you. Not only do you have all this other vast, great experience, but you're also an entrepreneur. So I wanted to ask you about Pooch Plan.
Yeah. So Pooch Plan was a side project when I first adopted my dog about 7 years ago. I tried to go online to find all kinds of information about dog insurance and pet health conditions. I actually had a knee issue, and I could not find a single website out there that could give me information about pet insurance, health plans, dog breed issues, and things like that. So I decided to just create my own website and forum to make that happen. It barely makes any lunch money, so it's just for fun, but it's hopefully an informative resource.
And is your Pooch healthy and happy?
Yes, he is.
Very good, very good. Well, Caroline, I want to thank you for your time. You gave us a lot to think about. And I want to thank all of you for joining us for this edition of Profession in Focus.